Alright, so today I'm going to walk you through the Brotherhood of Mutants Eternity of Pain challenge. This one is a bit interesting because you can be really diverse with the team, but today my team is Sauron, who is 6-star rank 3, Magneto, who is 6-star rank 2, and Omega Red, who is 6-star rank 3. Keep in mind that I am running the Recoil Masteries here. I do suggest running it throughout the challenge, except for the Peni Parker fight. If you can't put them on, that's fine. Just expect maybe 1 or 2 more revives per fight, especially in the Hercules fights. So yeah, you can do a non-tag champion for the first 4 fights, and I picked Hercules for this because he's just very strong for the first 4 fights. So yeah, keep in mind I'm also boosted here, just champion boost, because I feel it is very necessary for this content. This content is very difficult content, so I feel if you were to use boost, this is the content to use it for. So yeah, now let's go over the fights. This is the Dormammu fight. This is a very straightforward Hercules fight. You just want to try to not let him throw a special attack too much, and then you just want to go for your SP1. You want to keep knocking him down so you can transfer the degen onto him, and then you just want to go for the SP2, and then just do a ton of damage, and the fight just closes out. So it's not too bad of a fight. It can get pretty annoying, if you just take too much degen damage. I would expect to go into immortality in this fight. I feel you can't really end it off with a high health pool. So yeah, I did end up soloing this fight, but do expect to take 1 or 2 revives if you're not as lucky as I am. And now we have the Bishop fight. So I'm not good at fighting Bishop at all, so this cost me 1 revive, but Hercules is perfect for it because the power gain from the node allows you to pretty much cheese it. So you just want to go for your SP1, go for your SP2, usual Hercules things. Don't let him throw his SP1. Ideally, just bait his SP2, and then after that, you'll be fine. You do want to know how to dex his SP2, though, because you will have to dex that a lot because it will be unblockable. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and once you get that timing down, this should be a pretty straightforward solo for you. If not, maybe 1 to 2 revives if you do mess up on the SP2 dex. So yeah, first 2 fights, not too bad with Hercules, and then we have the Crossbones fight. So you can use Omega Red for this, or you can use Hercules. I feel Hercules is just the faster option overall. Well, actually, no, I don't know, I just prefer Hercules for this fight. Basically, you just want to hit him, you'll get your bleed, and then you'll get immortality, and then you just want to do as much damage as you can before immortality runs out. This took me 1 or 2 revives. It can be done in a solo, but don't expect the solo. Expect to use maybe 1 to 2 revs at most. So yeah, first 3 fights, pretty straightforward. Another thing I forgot to mention is that if you don't have Hercules, Cosmic Ghost Rider is a perfect alternative for this. You can do the Overseer fight, the Bishop fight, the Crossbones fight very well. Speaking of the Overseer fight, this is the fight with Hercules. You just want to get to your SP1, SP2, usual Hercules rotation, right? This one's a pretty safe fight because you cannot be stunned from the Overseer, and you can ignore the auto block as well. So yeah, overall, it's a pretty safe fight. Expect to use 1 or 2 revives, so just because it is a very large health pool, and the Overseer can reduce your ability accuracy, so you can fail the stuns and all that. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and also you'll be heal blocked, so you'll get into immortality pretty fast. So just keep those things in mind, and then after that, it's a pretty straightforward fight. These first 4 fights are pretty straightforward. It becomes really challenging, though, with the Ikaris and the Peni Parker, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So yeah, once this Overseer is down, now you get the option to choose a new champion, and then that's when you swap out Hercules for Magneto, and then now we can begin the actual challenge. So this is the Kraven fight. I think Sauron is the best option out of the 3 for this. I think Omega Red is a close second, though. Basically, you just want to bait out the SP2, push him to his SP2 always, do not let him throw the SP1. If he throws the SP1, then you just want to counteract with your special attack, and then you will be able to remove the root. So just keep those things in mind, and then also, ideally, you just want to drop the SP2 with Sauron, but I just like Sauron for this fight because he is bleed resistant, so if you do mess up and Kraven does bleed you, you can just take very minimal damage. And also, Sauron is very tanky. He does regen from critical hits, so there's also that failsafe as well. So I feel he is just the safest option when it comes to taking the damage, because Kraven is unblockable for the whole fight, and that's the pretty challenging part of this fight. So yeah, overall, not too bad. This is probably the easiest fight of the 4 challenge fights. The next one up is Scorpion, who isn't as bad as well. But yeah, overall, this fight, not too bad with Sauron. You can use Omega Red as well, though, so just keep that in mind. And then we have the Scorpion fight. So this fight is just really slow with Magneto because this has the Langer node, and what that means is you cannot use your SP3, and Magneto without the SP3 is just pretty boring, but he's very safe for this fight. I would expect to use 1 or 2 revives just because the Scorpion can get pretty annoying at times. You can still get some abilities to not trigger, but it's not a guarantee, right? So sometimes the power gain triggers, sometimes the petrify triggers. So yeah, just keep that in mind. The Recoil Masteries, If you are running them now, I would suggest taking them off here because he does have access to Petrify, and that'll just like reverse your poison damage. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Also, I forgot to mention that the Sauron fight back there with Kraven, that's about like 1 to 2 revives. It can be done on a solo for sure. And this fight, I think, can be soloed as well. But for me, I use like 2 revives, I think, just because there is some pretty annoying AI with the Scorpion there. And now we have the Ikaris fight. So this fight, once you get into the rotation, it becomes not bad at all. Here's the rotation. You want to bait out the SP1, counteract with your heavy attack, do a double medium, and then just do that like on and on. Just like keep repeating that, and then it'll be a pretty straightforward fight. I think Magneto is the best here because he does have the energy damage on his heavy attack, and Omega Red and Sauron just do like no damage outside of their usual things. So yeah, I suggest using Magneto here. I feel like he is the best option overall out of the 3. And yeah, it's a pretty straightforward fight. You can see there, I'm doing like some pretty decent heavy attack damage, and you just want to rinse and repeat that. I would suggest like a high second Magneto, maybe like if you have a 5-star rank 5 6200, maybe use that over the 6-star rank 3 unduped. But besides that, this is just a not too bad fight once you get into the rotation. And then we have Peni Parker. So Peni Parker is very annoying. I really suggest healing up to full every time you fight her because the close encounters damage is no joke. It is pretty serious. She also has access to heal block as well, so you won't even regen fully from the close encounters node. So just keep those things in mind. And now let's go over the strategy. So what you want to do is you want to hit her block immediately, right? Because it will disable the shield and you will take the power burn damage from her auto block. So yeah, just do that immediately. Try to not let her like use her SP1. I did it there and I got a bit worried. But if you just push her to her SP2 only, then you'll be fine. Additionally, you want to stay close to her as much as possible because if you stay far away from her, you'll take a bunch of degen damage. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this node. In this fight, it is pretty annoying. Additionally, you will get special locked and power locked occasionally. He does have the chance to fail that ability because of his magnetism. So from here on out, you want to use just heavy attacks and you want to stay as close to her as possible. Additionally, you want to build to your SP3 because that's the main source of damage output. And yeah, you basically just want to rinse and repeat that. I would expect to do like maybe 2 or 3 revives, like just this fight, it's really hard to solo. I would say close to impossible to solo. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This is a very difficult fight, and if you use a lot of revs, don't feel bad because this fight sucks. Like, this Peni Parker is by far the worst boss in my opinion. I just cannot stand her, man. It is very, very annoying. But yeah, once you do those things, you'll be in a pretty good spot. And now it's time for the Thanos boss. So the Thanos boss, Sauron is by far the best option between these 3 characters. There's probably better options overall in the Brotherhood challenge, but Sauron is very good for this fight. He has access to lifesteal, which is good for the permeable cocoon phase, which is this one right here. So what you want to do is you just want to keep hitting the block of Thanos, and you will get power, right? So the only way to remove the cocoon is by hitting him with a special attack or hitting him with a heavy attack. So just keep those things in mind. There I messed up. I went unblockable, so the damage got reflected onto me. But after that, you will never like trigger the unblockable again, so it's fine. So there we go for the SP1. The cocoon is disabled now, so we just do regular hits. And then you just want to keep rinsing and repeating this, and then you'll be fine. That is the whole like aspect of phase 1. Phase 1 isn't too bad once you get into the rhythm of it. But just keep in mind, do not go for a parry stun because he'll reflect that, and do not go for basic hits because he'll reflect that as well. And once you learn that, once you like get used to that, you'll be fine. Now we have phase 2, which is the reverse controls phase. So what you want to do is you want to do a light ending combo and then it'll disable that. And after that, you just want to just do regular damage. He does have safeguard though, so this will be a very long phase, especially for Sauron, who is a prowess based character. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This will be a pretty long phase overall. But yeah, right here, I go for the light ending combo. The reverse controls are now disabled, and then we can just keep doing our regular damage. Overall, not too bad of a phase. If you're not that familiar with reverse controls, then this might be a bit of a tough time. But if you are used to them, then it shouldn't be too bad overall. So yeah, now we have the last phase after I dropped this SP2 here, which does like no damage because of the safeguard. So yeah, it sucks that Sauron is like kind of handicapped here, but I think he is still the best option of the 3 for this fight overall. But yeah, like I said, now we have the final phase, which is the Warmonger's Imperative phase. So he has an indestructible and unstoppable buff, and it gets disabled whenever you intercept him, and it'll also put armor breaks onto him as well. And this is your main source of damage output, and ideally you want to save up to an SP3, ideally with the armor break active. But Sauron is just goated for this phase, because like you're going to see right here, we take the SP3 to the face, right? But the best part is, Sauron regens from hits, right? So we just regen all the damage back, and that's just like absolutely amazing. That is like such a cheese for this. Like I didn't realize he did that, and it's just a really powerful ability. They are kind of messed up. You want to throw the SP3 when you have 10 prowess up, but they fell off there, so this is a very weak SP3. If you have 10 prowess, it would just do a ton of damage overall, just so keep that in mind whenever you're doing this final phase with Sauron. And yeah, just rinse and repeat that, and then you'll just be pretty clear, man. Sauron is very good for this final phase, especially with the regen. So yeah, just keep doing that, and then you will be fine, and you will finish this fight. So you have now completed the Brotherhood of Mutants challenge. That is the third one on my channel, so we have 3 more remaining if you're following along. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this challenge, and yeah, that's about it for me.